Societies, much like people, often look outward for threats. We build walls and armies to protect against invaders. We watch our borders and monitor the ambitions of our neighbors. History books are filled with tales of empires clashing of great battles. This focus is natural. An external enemy is easy to identify. It is a tangible problem with what seems like a tangible solution. Build a stronger defense. Yet, this outward gaze creates a dangerous blind spot. While we stand guard at the gates, we often fail to notice the slow, corrosive decay happening within our own walls. The most profound and lasting collapses in history are rarely the result of a single swift blow from an outside force. Instead, they are often the culmination of internal problems that have been allowed to fester for generations. These are the subtle, creeping crises that do not announce themselves with trumpets or marching armies. They are the quiet crumbling of institutions, the fraying of social bonds, and the slow poisoning of the environment. The real danger is often the one we do not see or the one we choose to ignore. How does a society begin to fall apart from the inside? The process is rarely simple, but it often begins with a few key fractures in its foundation. One of the most common is social fragmentation. A healthy society requires a degree of cohesion. When this cohesion breaks down, the society splinters into competing factions based on class, ethnicity, political belief. The collective will to solve problems evaporates. The we of the society dissolves into a collection of us versus them. Cooperation is replaced by zero-sum competition for resources and power. Another critical factor is political instability. When a government loses its legitimacy and can no longer effectively manage the affairs of state, overpopulation and resource depletion represent a third, and often decisive, internal pressure. Every society depends on a finite resource base: land, water, and forests. As a population grows, the demand on these resources intensifies. For centuries, the collapse of the classic Maya civilization in the southern lowlands around 900 AD was one of history's great mysteries. In the steamy jungles of Central America, sophisticated writing, intricate calendars, monumental architecture simply seemed to vanish. The Maya were not a unified empire but competing city-states, each ruled by a divine king, Kuhul-Ajah. For centuries they vied for dominance, forming and breaking alliances in a complex geopolitical game. Their society was highly stratified, a small elite of priests, nobles ruling over vast numbers of farmers. This system produced great art and science but contained the seeds of its own destruction. The old image of peaceful stargazers has been overturned by modern research. Their society was rife with conflict, competition was brutal and endemic. Population growth increased pressure on resources and ramped up warfare. Kings sought power through military victory, demanded tribute, and took captives. Conflict diverted resources from productive work, making long-term planning impossible for farmers. Internal strife was a critical factor in their decline. Instead of cooperating on shared problems like recurring droughts, kingdoms fought each other. The farmers, losing faith in kings who could neither bring rain nor provide security, likely voted with their feet. They abandoned the cities and the political structure that had failed them to pursue a more sustainable, small-scale existence. Our deeper understanding of the Maya collapse comes from two key sources: the patient work of archaeologists and the painstaking decipherment of Maya hieroglyphs. For decades, archaeologists have been excavating the ruins, analyzing soil samples, and studying settlement patterns. Their findings paint a clear picture of environmental stress. They have found evidence of widespread deforestation, soil erosion, the direct result of an expanding population clearing land for agriculture. As the forest disappeared, the local climate likely became drier, exacerbating a series of severe, prolonged droughts that we now know occurred in the 9th and 10th centuries. The Maya were, quite literally, undermining the ecological foundations of their world. At the same time, the translation of their complex writing system has given us a voice from the past. The intricate carvings on stelae, lintels, and temple walls are not just about gods and calendars, they are political records. They tell stories of royal accessions, marriages, and, most importantly, wars. The inscriptions reveal a dramatic escalation in the scale and intensity of warfare in the final centuries of the classic period. Phrases appear that describe the burning of rival cities, the capture and sacrifice of enemy kings. These two streams of evidence, the environmental and the political, converge to tell a powerful story. The Maya kings' response to growing environmental problems was not to cooperate, but to compete more fiercely. As resources became scarcer, they fought each other for control of what remained. The story of the Maya is not just an ancient curiosity, it is a mirror reflecting our own time. The specific details may be different. We have global supply chains instead of local farm plots and social media instead of stone monuments, but the underlying dynamics are alarmingly familiar. We too live in a world grappling with the consequences of its own success. Our global population has surged, placing unprecedented strain on the planet's finite resources. We are witnessing environmental degradation on a scale the Maya could never have imagined. Climate change, deforestation, ocean acidification, biodiversity loss. Just as the Maya city-states were locked in destructive rivalries, our modern world is fractured by deep social and political divisions. Nationalism is on the rise, and international cooperation on critical issues like climate change is faltering. Within nations, political polarization has reached extreme levels, paralyzing governments and turning civic discourse into a shouting match. Furthermore, the disconnect between elites and the general population is a defining feature of our era. There is a growing sense that our political and economic systems are rigged to benefit a select few, while the costs and risks are borne by everyone else. The US versus them mentality is amplified by technologies that create echo chambers and spread misinformation. Our technological prowess gives us a far greater capacity to understand these problems than the Maya ever had. We have satellite data, climate models, and economic indicators. The question is not whether we can see the cracks forming in our own foundation, but whether we will choose to act. We do have the tools and the knowledge, the choice is ours. The Maya did not have the benefit of historical hindsight. We do. Will we learn from their fate? Ignoring internal weaknesses is a gamble. Even the most powerful societies eventually lose. The temptation is always to focus on the immediate, the external, to believe our system is fundamentally sound. This is collective denial. For the Maya, continuing to build temples, waging wars, forests disappearing, soil eroding. For us, prioritizing quarterly earnings, neglecting planetary health, engaging in partisan squabbles while infrastructure crumbles and climate destabilizes. The outcome is the same, failing to address core problems until they overwhelm us. Collapse is not sudden, it feels sudden. It's a fast-moving catastrophe unfolding over decades. A healthy society can absorb a drought, a market crash, a political scandal, but a weakened society, riven by division, inequality, and environmental degradation, becomes brittle. Each new crisis pushes the system closer to breaking. One of the greatest perils is failed leadership. Societies need leaders who can see long-term trends and speak difficult truths. But political systems often reward leaders who offer simple solutions, deny inconvenient problems, and pander to immediate desires. The Maya kings fell into this trap. Ignoring warnings leads to a loss of options. Early problems that are solvable become intractable later. Replanting a few trees is easy, reforesting a continent is not. Bridging a small political divide is possible, healing a society torn by hatred is nearly impossible. The silent, vine-choked cities of the Maya are not a testament to failure, they are a lesson in choice. The Maya did not choose to collapse, but they made a series of choices that led to that outcome. These were human choices, made by people who, like us, were trying to navigate a complex and changing world. They chose to engage in endless, escalating warfare. They chose to allow their elites to accumulate immense power and wealth at the expense of the common good. They chose to manage their environment in a way that was, over the long term, unsustainable. It requires a willingness to engage in critical self-assessment, to question our most cherished assumptions, and to adapt our behaviors when they are no longer serving us. It demands that we look beyond short-term gains, and consider the long-term consequences of our actions on both our environment and our social fabric. This is not easy. It requires political courage, a sense of shared responsibility, a commitment to future generations, a commitment to the well-being of future generations. Our global society now stands at a crossroads, facing challenges of a scale the Maya could never have conceived. We possess technological and scientific tools of immense power, but our wisdom in using them has not kept pace. We can see the patterns, we know the warning signs. The choice, therefore, is ours to make. Will we be the society that recognized the cracks in its own foundation and found the wisdom and the will to repair them? The answer depends on the choices we make, together, starting today.